Thank you for choosing to work with me. Here are a few steps in the process if you decide to move forward. It's helpful tips and reminders to get you through the beginning stages of the process. I know sometimes it's easier to see things visually and also hear it rather than just seeing it in an email. So, what's next? You hire me, but what does that really look like? What does that mean? So, we've talked about buyer agency agreements briefly, but I want to go over it in more detail so you understand. So an agreement is used to protect you and your interests. Without a buyer agency agreement, the agent does not work for you, so they don't really have any loyalty, or you have no leverage, I guess, to say that. So buyer agency agreement states the fee is paid by the buyer. Though properties offered in the multiple listing service, uh, homes that you see on realtor.com, or if it's a new home site, the buyer's agent compensation is paid by the seller, whether that's the builder or that's the owner of the home. Though, if the agreement says that it is 3% and the seller is only offering 2.5%, be responsible for paying that 0.5%. So I use a standard of 2.5 because typically that's what the amount is. It's not necessarily 3. You don't have to pay more or less. And if they're offering more, then I just get to keep that because I earned it. So the seller could offer more or less. So standards of all my agreements are there is a 48-hour termination clause, which allows either party to terminate their agreement prior to being under contract. No property showings to a buyer unless they have an acceptable approval letter, and no agreements are going to be longer than 4 months. So we have to have an agreement in place to work together. This is my business practice. So pre-approval. I won't stay too long on this, but you need to know that you should have a reputable lender. I can only vouch for lenders and loan officers that I know personally and that I have worked with in the past. I can't say how your experience is going to be with an unknown person. If a loan officer only checks your credit, that's not a true approval. That's just a pre-qualification, which means nothing. Which means the underwriter hasn't looked at it, they haven't verified your income, they haven't done anything, but just looked at your credit, which that's the first step. You do need to do that, but that's not. It's a lot that goes into it more than just seeing what's on the credit. That's a small part of it. So you need to have documentation to verify a loan application. So the best and less stressful way of getting a mortgage loan is to have the underwriting done up front. Make sure that you get the maximum payment amount that you desire so you don't have to go through the underwriting process again. Also, having the underwriting done sooner means that you can close sooner, depending on the lender, and that your offer getting accepted over someone else's. Let me know if you need a loan officer recommendation. So, yes, you are pre-approved. So, let's talk about home tours. So, I have made scheduling home tours very easily. So, you can go to my website, ReShawnaLeaven.com/showings, and then you'll be linked to my showing appointment system, which is the Candidly app, and it actually syncs with my calendar. So if you see available times, then that's when I'm actually available. All you need uh, to schedule the appointment is 2 homes with the MLS numbers and addresses, just to cross reference, just in case if you didn't have the right number. I like to have both there, so make sure I'm actually scheduling the right house. And then you also receive an email stating that we're good to go with our schedule, and actually a printout of actually what we're actually going to go see. And I like the online system because it avoids going back and forth. You say, oh, well, can you do 12? I say, I can't do 12. Then I say, what can you do 4 o'clock? I can't do 4 o'clock. Or I can do 3:30, but you can't. So it just avoids that. So whatever time is there, that's what I'm available. So, and if it's not a time available there, just submit it and then let me know if it's another time that you request, because I may be able to accommodate it. So now let's talk about money. The money that you need. funds for your home purchase. So after you have gone under contract, you're going to need your earnest money in the form of a certified check, which is typically 1% of the sales price. That's due as soon as possible. Next, you'll be completing your home inspections within the first week. Those funds are due the same day the inspection is done, either by a credit card or a check, depends on the actual person doing it, or what they allow the form of payment. So fees typically range between $350 to $650, depending on the size of home and number of inspections need completed, whether it's home, radon, termites, so the more things you do, the more it costs. So your lender is going to have you pay for your application fee and your appraisal fee, because the appraisal will not be ordered until you pay for it. So fees can range between $400 to $600 depending on the size of home. Please note, though, there's another fee that I want to mention. If you're buying a property that has a condo fee, I don't want to say if you're buying a condo, because some people get confused between condos and townhomes. So if there is a condo association attached to that property, you're going to need what's called a condo questionnaire. The fee must be paid and ordered as soon as possible, because it takes about 14 to 20 days to process, unless you get a rush, which rush is an additional $100, $100 to $150. So the cost of it is typically between $200 to $300. But if you have to put a rush on it because it wasn't ordered on time, then that's another $150. So you're almost at $400 just for this document. So lastly, 3 days before closing, you're going to receive what's called the final closing disclosure, or final CD, which is going to have your final amount that you're going to need for closing. You should have a general idea from previous disclosures your lender has given you, but this will be the exact amount you will need for closing day, like down to the cent. So if you do not have this money at closing, you will not close. You have to submit that as soon as you sit down at the closing table. So now let's talk about timelines. Timelines are essential to real estate. So after you submit an offer, it can take up to 3 days to finalize everything. Negotiations back and forth. I mean, it could take 1 day, but back and forth, it's no more than 3 days. I mean, it shouldn't take longer than that. After the contract has been accepted, you'll be ratified, and the ratification date will be added to the contract. All deadlines are going to be based on the ratification date. Typically, if you're buying a resale home, it's going to take 30 to 45 days from ratification to closing. If you're buying a brand new house, it's going to take up to 200 days, because the house has to be built, occupancy permits have to be given, appraisal has to be done, and the loan process has to be completed. So that is briefly a sum of what you have to do. Thank you for watching this video on what's next when hiring me. If you have any questions, don't hate to give me a call. Thanks for watching.